Oh, hold on. Give me 1 second. There we go. Now I can talk. I need the microphone because I'm trying to keep my voice down. All right, that's a flag. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. Yeah, we discussed that the other day, little bro. I don't think you've been here for any of the live talks that we've had about it, but it was a listen. It's a tragedy, man, and it's something that is completely, fucked us up as a nation, in my opinion. I think there's a lot of things that we can get into with like, the flawed views of what happened, the evil it takes. I mean, yeah. Listen, I've been honestly, I got to tell you guys this. I got to talk to you guys about this. So I made like a burner account on TikTok, right? Like just because, I don't want to, I'm just not trying to have people, jump all over my personal and like I worry about like people that follow me and worry about like my family and shit when it comes to like, arguing with people politically. Yo, Jocelyn, what's up? Um, just like arguing with people politically. Like I don't want to do that. Like and it is totally like it's like a minefield out there, man. Everything, and I mean like when I say it, I mean from like every perspective, not even just not even just like people that think Charlie Kirk like deserve to die or shit like that. Like, stranger, where you been? I've been here. We've talked a couple days, and like like hearing from people like from both sides that are like extremely, acting out like in extreme ways from this tragedy. It's like it's horrible, man. Like it's really like it's gotten to the point where it's like it's just I'm trying to think of the way to describe it. It's like it's horrible because like people are think it's allowing them to be extreme. Like if that makes sense. Like it's sorry, I was just looking up. Like it's just like people are like rest in peace to them kids in Colorado. Yeah, them too. Yeah, that was a terrible tragedy. Happened on the same day, and it's awful. Like it's an awful thing as well. Like I think the problem is people are trying to say like people trying to compare the two. Like I think like people trying to say like oh well like the kids in Colorado like they're both major tragedies. They're both absolutely horrible incidences. Sends the wrong message for sure. Yeah. No, look, there's people, and like I said, it's both sides. I'm not even sitting here saying like, oh, like liberals who think Charlie Kirk should die. Like, there were Republicans, conservatives that went out and were like, the Democrats are going to pay for this before even knowing anything about the person that shot him. Like before knowing anything. Like, and end all be all, it's not every single fucking person, it's not every single like just because like and why does it always come down to that? Why does it always have to come down to like we have a tragedy and the biggest thing that we're waiting for is what fucking party did he support? Like what are we doing? Did what happened over a washing machine in Dallas is insane. Wait, dude, what happened over a washing machine in Dallas is insane. What are you talking about? I actually don't even know what you're talking about. A washing machine? What like whatever that is, I'm not even sure what happened. Man was beheaded. I have no idea. Hello, sir. I like your hat, Megan. Thank you. I have a cold view on it. I'm gonna sit out this one. I listen, Jocelyn. People are gonna have their views. I think like I think people misconstrue who he was. I think people like to use big terms that they're not really sure what the definition of are. To be okay with somebody dying because they don't agree with them. Calm? Yeah. No matter the side you're on, it's still a tragedy. I agree 100%. And Jocelyn, I'm going to strongly disagree with what I have a feeling you would say. I think, like, trying to, like, explain why somebody you disagree with should die is, here's one thing that I'd like to talk about. And, like, look, we're just having a discussion. I'm not angry about anything. I'm just talking. People love to like refer to him as a Nazi. People say it all the time. They're like, like he's a Nazi. He's a Nazi. Like, not really understanding what the term Nazi means. I don't think people even know who are using it understands what that means. And like, these are the same people that are saying like, oh, he should have died because of what he was spreading, which would be what a Nazi is. You understand that, right? Like, that is exactly what it is. Like, thinking that somebody should be eliminated because of how they feel and what they believe in is exactly what that is. So, people are like, oh, he should have died. He was a Nazi. No, actually, Twitter's is fucking disturbing. I saw a tweet that had like 1,000 likes, which makes it funnier is that the kids were there watching. Yeah, there's people that are fucked up. But you know what I mean? Like, I think people don't even know the definition of it, and they keep using the word. They keep throwing it out there. Then you have people saying shit like he was racist, and then like they use examples that don't add up to what it is. Appreciate the respect Jocelyn has, though. Unlike the no, I respect that Jocelyn. I respect that Jocelyn didn't say anything, and that's fine. Like, but I think like openly and like I respect the hell out of Jocelyn. I would never have a bad thing to say about her. Like, never ever. Like everybody's entitled to their own opinion in the end. Like, fine. And Floyd, did you block me? I would never block you, Connor. Twitter, yeah, but Twitter's a minefield, dude. Twitter became such a fucking terrible place because it gave way too many people, that like it gave a lot of people a platform that I don't think they were prepared for. There's a lot of people that have a lot of influence that should not have it. I didn't block Connor. I would never block him. I would never block anybody. I was watching Fox News when they announced he had passed away. I cried because his country is new low. Truly, I believe he was a good man. It's dumb that you would take him from his family. Listen, I think I'm in agreement there. Like, I think it's one of those situations where it's like, Mia, what's up? How are we? I was targeted at school for defending Charlie. I felt bad for his kids and wife. I couldn't imagine seeing that. When I seen it, I was so shook, so bad I threw up. Yeah, no, honestly, the video of it was so horrific. I wish I never saw it. It was awful. Do you have a gigantic hat on, or is it a tiny head? Tiny head, a little bit of both. Teeny tiny head. It's a little bit of both, honestly. But today and yesterday I cried. Yeah, me and my girlfriend were driving to a party tonight, and like, she got upset over it. And look, I'm upset about it. I think I've been very clear on like how I felt about him as like in the political field, where it was like, I didn't fully agree with everything he had to say. I think there were things that he said that I was like, okay, that's a little bit too far. But then also like I think like people are he did a good thing in terms of like going around talking about things, being willing to explain his side and perspective, and allowed people to have an open mic to disagree with him. I think that's one of the most enviable things you could possibly do. This immigrant and black kid at my school is called a fascist for defending Charlie, which is pretty ironic because he was basically killed because he wasn't enough of a fascist. Country needs a massive turnaround, big time. Connor, I swear to God, no one knows what. Yeah, people have no idea what it means. I ain't defending Charlie, but it's never good to do that to someone you disagree. I agree. No, Jocelyn, 100%. I'm with you on that. I think there's plenty of people that disagree with him. I'm with you 100%. I understand. When people stop having civil conversations, violence happens. Exactly. 100%. Charlie Kirk was a trailblazer for the First Amendment. I think calling him a trailblazer for it is I think that might be a little bit extreme, but I think he was somebody who, he was. I guess trailblazer is the word. Actually, when you say it, when I think about it, it's not the improper word, but it's definitely, he's somebody who emphasized the importance of it. So yeah, trailblazer is the perfect word. Am I an idiot? George Washington said in the mid-1700s that the idea of political parties will tear apart the country. Wait, what'd you say? When people about how the idea of political parties will tear apart the country, right? I don't understand why people are mad at what Erica came out and said. Like she's grieving. What do you want her to say? No, I agree. The only thing when her speech is like, I tend to be somebody who's openly not religious, and that's the only part that like lost me. But I mean, she's grieving. She's a grieving widow. She's going to say things. The fact that people are breaking down every little word is just ridiculous. But you said George Washington said in the mid 1700s that the idea of political parties will tear our country apart. You see, like, I think the idea of political parties shouldn't. I think it should be. I think the idea of having differences in opinions should be a good thing to lead to, a sound agreement in the end. But the problem is we've skewed so far away from that it's never we're never going to get back to that. Like, we've gotten to the point where instead of working together and having differences, which usually creates the best outcome, we've started working apart and pulling apart at the seams for power. And it comes from a greed. It comes from, you know, I think it comes from a fear from certain things. Like, I do agree with that, but I think overall everything ends in greed, and I think it's because both sides have their own, like, when whichever side is in power, the money ends up going there, and it's a horrible fucking situation. It's kind of ironic because immigrant isn't even a citizen because his dad has a work visa, and he called me out for like Charlie. You know what? There's people that I think there's a lot of people that I think are supremely uneducated on how things work and how things go. Like I said, I have a burner account on TikTok that I've been using to argue with people, so people won't come after the people that I'm connected to. And when I talk to these people, there are people that are just so unbelievably ill-informed on things. The right has its share in history as well. Everybody does. I agree fully. I think there's people who are so incredibly like ill-informed and like, like you have people going like saying shit like, oh, like Charlie Kirk spread this, Charlie Kirk spread that, like this hate, like they weren't spread something. Like, it's so crazy to me. Religion also separates us. Listen, I think religion does both. I think it separates us, it unites us. I think religion used in certain contexts can separate us, if that makes sense. Question. Wait, hold on. Sorry, let me catch up on things. Let me turn this down. Let me turn the TV down. Go to. I'm watching your Cal Bears right now, so I'm sorry if I'm not reading everything. Now the other comment. What other comment? If you said something else, I didn't see it. I disagreed with the majority of what he said. Still respected what he was doing. Romeo, you and me are right on the same page, 100%. His wife is a Catholic. What the hell are y'all expecting? She's obviously going to bring that up. The religion. I get it. Question to religion. If you dying means you go to eternal bliss and eternity, and your family will meet you there soon, and everything you'd ever love. What's so sad about dying? Because, like, I think it's the idea of the guidance in, having somebody there that's going to guide you to a place of comfort before you're passing, I guess, and then having that taken so soon is brutal. Like, but I think I've been very open that I'm not very religious, but I respect religion as a whole. I think the class system separated us. It definitely didn't help. I think the spreading of the wealth from, like, the rich have become richer, the poor have become poorer, and it's completely shot everything. I'm sure it had something to do with it. I'm sorry to try to catch up on everything. Hold on. What do you mean by class system? Like the you know what I mean? Wait, it's a perfect example of the way the country has turned. I feel. Hold on. Republican lower. Religion also separates us. Religion unite. Wait, do little bro. Hold on. I'm trying to catch up. I'm sorry, guys. Did you hear what Ben Shapiro said? I did not. I did not see. What is the definition of a man in your opinion? My definition? Yeah, it's somebody with an X and Y chromosome. That's to me what my opinion is. It's somebody who has an X chromosome and a Y chromosome. Now here's the thing. Here's what I will say. I have no problem with people going around and dressing however they want, acting however they want. I don't think that's an issue. Like, if you prefer to dress like a man and you prefer to, like, act like a man on day to day, yes, 100%. I think that's totally fair. But I'm a big time on the side of you have an X and Y chromosome. That's what you are. I've always been like that. Now, this is the most serious I've ever seen flight. Yeah, usually I'm fucking around, but I'm okay with having good discussions. Like, I always said I never wanted to talk politics, but I think, like, just to ignore everything in the light of where we are as a country, I think it's impossible. Like, I think it's just, see, I'm somebody who's not going to take myself too seriously, but I'm also, not going to, like, sit around and pretend like things aren't bad. So it's a catch-22. I don't like to take myself seriously, but this is just not a time where I can sit here and like pretend like everything's good, if that makes sense. Our rushing is shit today. Just got in the end zone. Yeah, they haven't been moving the ball on the ground. It's an immutable biological reality. 100%. He wants to go around colleges in honor of Charlie. Me? Yeah, I don't know if I would do that. I think I'm going to stick to, staying online for that, especially after that. But, at some point I want to be able to have conversations with people that like, and I know it's not plausible. I know it's not like reality, but at some point I'd like to have conversations with people that don't get that wouldn't get me killed, you know? Like again, Charlie Kirk died because people didn't agree with him. And it was a very extremist who didn't agree with him. In fact, it was somebody who didn't think he was enough of a fascist, which is crazy. Wait, okay, cool. Now let's look at it in the sense of how a grown man should be. Like, how should he act? Like, how a man should act. I think a man should have morals. I think a man should have, I'm trying to think of like, what do you mean? Like, in what sense, little bro? Like, I'm trying to understand where you're going. My mom said she is getting scared for me because I speak my political and religious views and don't hold back. See, Connor, the problem is when you get scared, that's the issue. The issue is that people have to be scared. And look, it's both sides. It's people, it's Democrats who have Republicans that run around saying like, oh, we're gonna like. There were real Republicans saying they were gonna hunt Democrats after Charlie Kirk died. That's crazy. And it's also like people who are Democrats who, get mad at like, every little take that's not theirs. The streamer I watched was the next up to talk to Charlie before he got shot. He was all shook up. That's horrible. It's awful. It's awful. But yeah, Connor, listen, man. I think you should never be afraid of anything. Never be afraid to have an opinion. And that's the problem, is that people have to be afraid to have their opinion. Connor, as long as there's some crazy paranoia. Look, Charlie Kirk is dead because it was a crazed individual who completely lost touch with reality, and Charlie Kirk was on a level so high that it was dangerous, right? Like, not every single person, not every person that disagrees with you is somebody that's going to shoot and kill you ever. Like, never feel that way. Connor, Connor, do you know the Bible? Yes, I know the Bible. I'm a Christian. Let's see. A man should be strong emotionally and take care of those around him. I agree. Kirk was humble for not having that much security despite his status. He was. Listen, he was somebody who was, he never like thought of himself as too serious. And I think that's very enviable for somebody who had such a platform. He was somebody who, he was willing to sit there, talk to people without like armed guards around him, like he was some fucking, like you couldn't get near him. It would make him unapproachable, which, little bro, it wasn't his faith that killed him, it was his political opinions. Yeah, no, it really had nothing to do with his religion. It was absolutely his political beliefs. But I also think, I've said it a lot of the time that, I think a lot of like the things I disagree with him on, the things I always disagreed with him on, I think a lot of his opinions were skewed because of his strong religious beliefs. And like, I do think that can be dangerous at times when we talk like politics, that sometimes like, some of his strong rhetoric was based off of like stuff from the Bible. And I think we need to be able to separate church and state. I think that's a very important thing. Logan Paul has more security going to the grocery store than Kirk did at a massive event, which is crazy. I don't know the reaction those lawmakers in Minnesota got and the kids in Colorado, how much attention it got, bother me about the political atmosphere in the U.S. The thing about the lawmakers in Minnesota, like, it's all horrible. Everything's horrible, Jocelyn. Like, the tragedies are horrible. The problem with the children in Colorado, and again, it's a horrible tragedy. The coverage isn't going to be there because people, and it's a fucked up world we live in. I'm not condoning it. The clickbaity, the thing that's on the front page of stories, the one that gets people talking, the one that everybody wants to talk about is Charlie Kirk. That's why the children in Colorado were thrown kind of aside, and it's fucked up. It's not okay. It's not cool, but At the end of the day, these news, like every news program, they're talking about Charlie Kirk because that's what people want to hear. And it's a fucked up world we live in. It's all based on the greed of these companies that sell ad space, that these companies, that all they want is people watching their program. They will ignore something that was fucked up that happened the same day because it's not going to be something people want to see. It's really fucked up. I'm sorry that I'm getting really serious tonight, guys. I just, I like to have these conversations with you guys. I think it's a good thing. I think it's an okay thing to discuss. Like I said, I don't want to just be some silly fucking streamer all the time, which is fun. I like talking to you guys and having fun and being like a fucking maniac about things, but I don't know if this is the time. I feel so bad for his family, so do I. I feel terrible for his kids, his wife. It's just horrible, man. It is, and I'm hoping soon we can we can move past this and learn from the mistakes. And again, I think one of the biggest problems with the whole situation, I said it 1,000 times, is people are trying to blame a side for what happened. People are trying to point the finger, and the problem isn't that like we should be looking at it as it's a horrible tragedy, and that's it. Not, hey, this side got what they wanted, this side did this side did that. It's a terrible tragedy. It doesn't matter who did it. It's the fact that it's a horrible thing that was done. His wife is 3 months pregnant. Is she really? Charlie Kirk did not hate. He did not hate all that's not white. He didn't. CJ, hold on. What did CJ say? Because it did not pop up on my feed. Unpopular opinion, I'm sure, but why would God let this generation's greatest Jesus supporter die? Shit makes it hard. Yeah, you can ask a lot of questions like that, Ben. And again, I'm not a religious person. It's one of those things you could ask that anytime. See, all the blaming is stupid. The assassin was a registered Republican, so I don't get the blaming. Yeah, I mean, he was a radical. He was a completely radicalized individual that, was deeply online and completely, and completely got immersed in his in being radicalized. It's terrible. Charlie was a normal dude, huge Cubs and Oregon Ducks fan, listened to a lot of Kanye, Glaze, Michael Jordan, and most of yeah. It's just politics. He was a normal guy that had opinions, who had strong opinions. Not all that I agreed on. Yo, George, what's up, man? 493-foot home run. Jesus. Yeah, they said he was a registered Republican. He voted Republican, but he joined some radical group and totally changed his views and had a complete 180. Charlie Kirk's purpose on this earth has been fulfilled. Listen, that's fair. Us having these important conversations and seeing each other as humans is important. Absolutely. That's the reason why I'm down to talk like this. Like I said, I could be a fucking goofball all the time. I could be my usual self where we talk all this shit about whatever. But I don't know if this is the time for it. And I'm good with having the conversations whenever you guys want to. He says he was a kid that came from a conservative family whose views were changed through social media. His family said he straight flipped. Yes, they said he straight flipped, but he was also he was very much an extremist. I think, again, it's dangerous when we get into the pointing of fingers of which party committed this, because it shouldn't matter. What happened is a kid, I've made this point so many times. You have people going oh, Charlie Kirk said things that that would the rhetoric of Charlie Kirk cause violence. Well, I mean, rhetoric in the wrong hands is always going to result in bad things. People can skew rhetoric however they want to make it to justify their action. For the play stream. The kid was having a hard time mentally, obviously. 100%. Yeah, listen, it was somebody who was mentally not in the right place, who got very strong, who completely became radicalized. And it's not it's fucked up. 57, what's up, man? He definitely knew what he was doing with a gun. Some say he was groomed into it growing up. Again, Jocelyn, I think that's a skewed, I've always been of the belief that guns don't kill people, people kill people, but makes it a lot easier with a gun. I've always had that. Canelo tonight for 1,300. Oh shit, dude, 57. I saw Canelo. Like I saw Canelo ran in like what's her face? Sofia Vergara went into the locker room to talk to him, and I was saying, I'm like, there's no way this guy loses. If Sofia Vergara, backed me before I was getting in a fight, there's no way I would lose. I could be fighting Crawford tonight. If Sofia Vergara came up to me and said good luck, he'd be toast, knockout, first round. I'm taking a rhetoric and logic class. Good. I think that's great. What did wait? Go ahead. The family was super into guns, so yeah, he had experience. Yeah, listen, he had the experience with the guns. What I'm saying is, I don't think his experience with the guns is the reason he became crazy. Yeah, sure, it probably made it easier for him to kill Charlie Kirk, and that's a fair, very fair fucking argument. But he was somebody who was completely radicalized by getting too deep into the internet and being, being who probably mentally couldn't all that information and like there's people that should not be getting information like that. Canelo losing, you think? Gun safety is always good to learn, but some kids growing up in that, I think problems should be solved with guns. We don't have a gun problem, we have a morality problem. I mean, I've always been a believer that your gun should never leave your house. I've always said that. But it's either Canelo or I'm betting futures on Jocelyn for MVP from now on. I feel like the odds on Jocelyn for MVP is just not very good. Like it can't be worth the money to even take it. Like it's probably minus money. She's probably favored. We lost a member of the church body on September 10th. Yeah. Oh God. Fuck you. A lot on September 10th. It's true. It is true. It's very true. I carry every day. Fight never. Well, Ardell, here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to say. You are somebody who is trained, and you're some very highly trained in carrying a firearm, and I think somebody like you should be able to carry it. I think somebody who is a military man, somebody who, you know, somebody who has the experience of holding a firearm, absolutely should be able to carry it around. Training doesn't matter as much as morality. No, I think you're somebody who can understand a situation when it should be okay to use your gun. I think there's people who like run around with a gun that might not understand, like, might not know the right situation. Make sense? That's a fallacy. No, I don't think it is. Hold on. Let me take that out because I think that it's all fucked up. I think there are people that aren't trained in the situations of the stress level to be able to use a gun. Does that make sense? Like, I think there might be times where like, and obviously we don't see it too often. I just think like guns can sometimes complicate things. I think somebody like you, who is a veteran, who had the training, who has the mental fortitude, a bolt action sniper is an open carry. No, absolutely not. But I think like guns start complicating things because there's people that have them that I don't think should have them. You are not one of those people, if that makes sense. Training is not as important as morality. I agree. But then what's the point of having the gun? That's what I would ask. Like, what's the point of bringing a gun out of your house if like morally you're not going to use it? And again, I think there's more people that carry it. Like I think the way I said that was wrong. More 95% of the people that carry it are going to be fine with a gun, are going to know not to use it, right? The problem is select few people that don't feel that way. Big facts, Ardell. I think there's certain people that should not have a gun. That's my point of view on it. I think people like Ardell absolutely can carry a gun. I think he's somebody who has experience in stressful situations with a gun. Like, my point is, I think there's people that get put into situations that might be, they might be in fear. Like people that walk around in fear. There's plenty of people who have a fear that like cripples them, right? People like that shouldn't have a gun. If that makes sense. Like I own a 22 that I mess around with twice a year on my uncle's ranch. See, I agree people mentally unstable shouldn't have one. That's why I think we should have better laws to acquiring one. Yes. We should adjudicate the mental defective. Absolutely. That's what I'm trying to say, but I think it's hard to find that. But also, my opinion, I think, like, in public, I don't see the need for guns all the time. I don't see, like, Like I don't see the need for like having a gun. Like I think having it in your house, I think having a gun in your home is totally fine. Like I think like if you have it somewhere like where like if somebody's breaking into your house, you can use your gun to defend it. I think that's okay. Like I think walking through Walmart with a gun is a little bit overkill. That's just the way I see it. And I understand people differ in opinion. I'm not self defense is not confined to your home. I get that. You make a good point there. I respect that. I'm talking like more public space, like even in your car. Like even if you have your gun in your car, I think that's fine. Like I guess also I can say for sure that I'm somebody that like I guess I'm somebody I'm 30, you know, I'm in pretty decent shape. I'm a former athlete. Like I don't feel like I'm in fear. Like I don't feel like uh like I don't feel like I'm in fear when I leave my house, but I get it. There's people that like are older who like, you know, could get easily taken advantage of that feel like they should have it. I just personally feel like it complicates things. Read my comment, what'd you say? Truthfully, I couldn't care less about what he believed politically. Who? And I'm not trying to change your mind on anything. I'm just saying that's my perspective of it. My perspective of it is I think guns complicate things in the wrong hands, obviously. Your hands would never be the wrong hands. But I do understand there's plenty of issues. There's plenty of times where people, you know, if they had a gun, the situation would have been different. Ooh, jeez. Would that bring a gun anywhere just in case something happens? That's fair. And I'm sure your dad is somebody that, you know, knows the responsibility of having a gun. Jeez. Yeah, it didn't show up. I didn't see it. You missed that. Jeez, just my opinion. Ardell, and I respect it, man. I totally respect it. I'm not even trying. Like, obviously, I'm open to hearing it out, and I understand your perspective of it. I get it. I totally get it. 100%. Like I understand there's situations where yeah, if somebody had a gun, it would help things. Yeah, that's what makes America cool. We're freedom to talk. Exactly. This is what we're doing. We're having a discussion. But I also think taking away all guns would just be complicate everything 10 times more. Like I said, I think in certain situations, having a gun to protect yourself makes sense. But 100%, we're good to talk about things. And trust me, Ardell, I value your opinion on this stuff because you're somebody who has fought for our country. You're somebody who has been in that situation, who's had that. And like, I understand that you're somebody who's very well qualified to talk about this. So like, I definitely value what you're saying. And like, I'm definitely going to think about it. And like, when I'm done with the stream, I'm going to think about what you like. You're right. Self-defense isn't just a home issue, but I always think about I think that's a New York cultural sensibility. It is because New York guns are fucking zero, none. I like to tell you a quick story before I hop off. Like, my mom moved down to Virginia, right? Like, so my mom's been in Virginia for years now, but my mom was here in New York like her whole life. Never even really traveled much, let alone like lived somewhere else. So, and Floyd, what happened to that earlier schedule? I mean, Saturday. It's Saturday night. I just wanted to get on here and talk. So my mom said it was like a culture shock when she went down there and saw people like, you know, with guns on their fucking hip, and it was like, whoa. And you're probably right that it has a lot to do with like New York. It's like guns are zero. Like it is completely no like anti-gun around here. Like so maybe that skewed my beliefs a little bit. Maybe that has me like a little bit timid when it comes to gun. I don't have a gun, and I would never have one because I don't think it's necessary. But I guess people grew up in different cultures and different, you know, areas where maybe having a gun was more normal. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna hop off though. I gotta go to sleep. I am fucking shot. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I will be live tomorrow. We'll talk some football.